January 31st, John Bradford. Welcome to 365 Christian Men, where every day we aim to inspire and encourage with real-life stories about men. Bradford worked hard and rose fast. He started in service to Sir John Harington and became responsible for handling King Henry VIII's money. He then went on to become deputy paymaster of Henry VIII's forces when they besieged a city on the French coast of the English Channel. When Bradford became a Christian, he was ordained to be a traveling preacher. He sold all his chains, rings, brooches, and jewels of gold, which he used to wear, so he could give money to the poor and the ill. When he heard a sermon preached by Hugh Latimer, teaching that if you've stolen, you must pay back what you've taken, he felt terrible about a fraud someone else had committed and Bradford had covered up. He would not rest until the man confessed and paid the money back. Unfortunately, the man was Sir John Harington. Nobody said doing what's right would be easy. Soon, Bradford faced a radical political change. Bloody Mary took the throne. But Bradford kept on speaking about Jesus and injustice. No matter the injustice, Bradford continued until this date in 1555 when he was condemned to death for illegal preaching. Here's his story.
Some men have a way with words, but God's word has a way with men. John Bradford had always been smart and talented and hardworking, and he was young when he had worked his way up to the position of clerk to the king's treasurer. But God made himself and his goodness known to Bradford, and everything changed. Bradford gave up his career and went to learn more about Jesus, who he was, what he does, and what is required of men. Soon, Bradford prepared and began to tell people that a life with God was available to them too. Even the hardest of hearts softened by what Bradford said. Next, he became King Edward's chaplain and traveled throughout England and preached that the grace of God and faith in Jesus were the keys to authentic Christian living. He was a man at war against the lies that held people captive and kept them from knowing the true God and how much he loved them. Psalm 51:17 says, "The sacrifice God desires is a humble spirit. O God, a humble and repentant heart you will not reject." This was a dream job, to present truth and fight evil everywhere he found it. But it didn't last for long. 15-year-old King Edward fell ill and was succeeded by his older half-sister, Mary Tudor, who wanted to restore the supremacy of the Roman Catholic Church. Mary Tudor called the reformers heretics and strove to wipe them out. The heretics called her Bloody Mary. At a huge gathering of the public outside Old St. Paul's Cathedral, Queen Mary's chaplain was preaching from an outdoor pulpit. The audience, many of whom had come to know the love of God through the reformers, got more and more agitated. Bradford and another man had been assigned to guard the chaplain, which they did. But someone in the crowd threw a dagger and narrowly missed the chaplain's head. Of course, he ducked, but the crowd got more and more aggressive, so Bradford stepped up to the pulpit, rebuked the angry crowd, and managed to calm the uproar. When they did calm down, Bradford and the other man struggled to get the chaplain safely away. Then something bizarre happened. Queen Mary had Bradford arrested for illegal preaching and stirring up the rebellion. He had to stand before a council and defend himself. The accusers explained their reasoning. Someone had thrown a dagger at the chaplain's head, and the crowd was about to overrun and trample him. But Bradford had the audacity to stand at the pulpit and calm them down, saving the chaplain's life. He had no permission to do that, and since he had the power to calm them, that was proof that he had started the riot. Bradford refused to denounce his beliefs, so they condemned him and locked him up. As always, Bradford took the setback in stride and saw what happened as something God had allowed. To Bradford, it was an opportunity for him to serve. In prison, he regularly held religious meetings and preached twice a day unless he was sick, and nobody stopped him. He was so trusted by the guards that in the evenings, they would let him leave the jail to minister to the sick, with only the promise that he would return. The jailers knew he would come back, and he always did. Imprisoned for 2 long years, Bradford briefly shared his cell with 3 other well-known reformers. As the time drew near to his execution, he wrote to them, "Oh, dear fathers, I am about to leave my flesh in the world where I received it, but I'm going to a better world. God grant it may make my persecutors better men." He told them goodbye, trusting shortly to see you, where, having finished our warfare, we shall associate with all those who have faithfully followed the banner of the captain of our salvation, made perfect through suffering, and never again to be called to the field. When the day of Bradford's execution came, he was chained to the stake with another young reformer. Publicly, John Bradford asked forgiveness of anyone he had wronged, and he freely forgave all who had wronged him. Then, before they lit the fire, he said to the young man, "Be of good comfort, brother, for we shall have a merry supper with the Lord tonight." Are you willing to share God's word with somebody today? God will give you the right words to say. Some men have a way with words, but God's word has a way with men.
The story of John Bradford is a very sobering one. His faith was tested all the way to the point of death, but death that was brought on by being burned alive. The story of his martyrdom is really remarkable, and while it is, on the one hand, the kind of story that can just fill you with admiration for the strength of his faith, it can also fill you with questions about yourself. Would I be able to withstand if I was tested by something as difficult and as painful as that? Would I give in, or would I be able to persevere through it? Now, if you have that question, I want to give you something to consider. First of all, I think we should rephrase that question just a little bit, because the question, would I be willing to die for Jesus, is a purely hypothetical question that most of us won't ever face in reality. But there's a very real question that each of us faces all the time, which is, would I be willing to live for Jesus? Or would I be willing to die for Jesus? But how about just, would you be willing to live for Jesus? Most likely, you will never face the challenge of dying for Jesus. You're probably not going to face the challenge of dying for Jesus today. But I can guarantee that you have the opportunity to live for him today. It can happen right now, today. That's a real possibility. It's a real option. It's something you could do right now, to commit to live for him today. In Romans 12:1, Paul says that we ought to offer our lives as living sacrifices. A living sacrifice is a life that is given over to live for Jesus, not just to die for him, but to live for him. It's not a one-time courageous act performed in front of a large crowd. It's a lifetime of daily offering your life to him, lived as he has commanded it. You live as he has commanded you. And I think that most likely those who are ready to die for Jesus will turn out to actually be the same people as those who are willing and determining to live every day for him. Every morning they're getting up determining to live their life for him. And when you do that, when you live like that, you'll be ready to die for him. A life given to him will be a life ready to be laid down for him, even if he should ever ask for it. So my challenge to you today is to determine to give your life to Christ as a living sacrifice.
Before we go, quick note, we're launching a women's storytelling channel in January. Same style as this, just from a woman's perspective. If you know someone in your life who'd enjoy these stories, it's linked in the bio.